Hey guys, how's it going? I just want to make a video on my thoughts on Overwatch right now. I did this not long ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, kind of on Mauga in Season 8. But I just want to kind of do it on the whole of the game. Um, so let's get right into it. I think damage in general is just an issue, right? You see people just one-shotting all the time, or killing nothing, and I think that gameplay loop is just really frustrating to deal with. And then you have tanks that just don't die, or they die too fast, right? You get these insane patch notes that have no sense of how the game is actually being played right now, right? Like why buff Orisa? I mean, Orisa I don't even think is broken right now, but why buff her? I mean, she didn't seem bad ever. Um, the Winston buffs are still in the game. I think people are underutilizing them too. Uh, but I mean, this is just a symptom of the overall issue of they've always had an issue with balance in the game. What they like to do very clearly is they like to um, make certain metas. For example, like they'll super buff Orisa, and then you're in a Orisa meta for half the season until they're like, oh well, now everybody's mad, so now we'll make it to another character that's just super busted. So they like to really enforce metas unorganically, is the way to put it, where it makes no sense and nobody wants to play those characters. Genji hasn't gotten a buff, and listen, there are very good Genji players, but maybe he probably could use a little something. Season 9 is supposed to be a huge change, but let's be honest, it's probably going to be for the worst. If I'm being real with you, if their track record does not really help their case for saying, "Oh, we're going to make the game so much better," um, and then we have like the Mauga problem and the heroes being the battle pass. Mauga is not really an issue at all anymore, in my opinion, at least so far from what I've played. But just the fact that they are just super buffing these characters and making you pay for them is a bit ridiculous. Like, why should I have to pay for a character to win the game? When in old Overwatch, you paid for the game and then you just got all the characters that came out. I don't give two shits about the skins, but it is very frustrating to just lose games, especially when trying to play with your friends, because they don't have the super turbo busted hero. People are talking about Mauga, but I think Alari was really strong too, right? So think about it. Who's not strong as a new hero? Probably Lifeweaver was the only one I could think off the top of my head. Ram too a bit, but he's still really strong, and right now especially. But newer players don't have these heroes, so they're just at a disadvantage entirely. Even though they're like, oh, we really want to, have the new player experience good. We want to make the game feel good again. It just seems like they say one thing and do another, which is a bit ridiculous. Um, Getting into it, I think supports. I think they're still a little too strong. I mean, I know they're going to be working on it in season 9. They're certainly less annoying to deal with now that Mauga is not meta, just because I don't, I get healed a little bit more now because they're not just only paying attention to one person on the team. Um, but still, they're dueling. They don't feel like supports to me, right? Like an Ana hits an Antina, that's huge support, right? But it also feels like a damage ability because it just ruins the game for another player. And again, that is, maybe that's one of the best supporting abilities in the game. But look at Alari. She's literally just a damage character that throws something that heals people, right? She's Ashe with a healing pylon. That's insane. I don't know who thought of this. Um, and again, Alari's fun too, but I don't know. And I know people love 6v6, right? Personally, I think 6v6 got a little stale, especially as role queue. I hate role queue. I think the game would be infinitely better if we went back to 6v6 no role lock, but again, lower ranks get destroyed by that because everybody wants to, oh, let me go damage, let me do this. But personally, that's when I think the game was best. I know people hated goats, but I think goats actually required a lot of team skill, especially when, going against a mirror of it. And again, you had dive metas. There's a lot more that you could do. Say your support was doing really bad, you could tell them, oh, maybe you could go tank or something, and I'll swap with you. Stuff like that. I mean, obviously, there's imperfections in any form of the game you could choose. And I'm not saying they should go back to it, but I think if they're going to do 5v5, they really need to start working on their changes. Like they're barely patching stuff. Um, they'll turbo buff somebody to like the character will be weak. Let's just take for example Junker Queen, right? The character will be really weak. They'll buff them once, and then they're good. They're in a good spot, and they're like, oh, nobody's playing this character. Let's buff them really, really hard so that everybody's forced to play them, and that's disgusting. Like I don't know how these people are paid to balance the game when they don't clearly play the game, because I don't know who would want to face mirror matchup, mirror matchup. Um, I don't know. It just makes me so upset that like they refuse to patch stuff that's so clearly busted. Like I really hate running the mirror stuff. Like I feel like in Overwatch 1 you can get away a lot more with whatever you want to play. I mean you still can in this game too. But man, is it really frustrating to just feel like you have to play a certain hero now because they're just turbo buffing everybody so hard. Instead of actually like I know balance is impossible, like true balance. But within reason, you could make most characters decent. Some obviously will just be worse than others inherently, just because they're kit. But again, there's a good balance you could make, but instead they just turbo buff and turbo nerf. Right? Your character's either broken or they're trash, and it's insanity. They want to take CC out of the game. Fine, you know I agree with that. I liked when it was gone. But then you see how they had all these new characters, and they have CC too, right? Queen pulls you, now it's a tank, to be fair, right? Ram slows you, again, tank to be fair. But Lifeweaver is self-team CC, where he just pulls your character, and that's annoying in lower elo. Brick still has her stun again, and her whip shot, on a sleep dart. All these things that they wanted to remove are just slowly coming back into the game. So maybe that's, I wouldn't say power creep. I mean, there is clear power creep as well, but it's definitely CC creep again too. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just so frustrating. And then we get to like all these new modes that are just clearly not ready to be put out too. I didn't even think about that in the last time I made this kind of video, right? Where you see like Flashpoint come out with 2 maps. What is that? 2 maps? And sure, whatever. But I haven't seen. Have they added a push map since it came out? Since the start of Overwatch 2? I don't think so. But they want to keep adding these new modes, but they can't even balance the modes they have. And on top of that, they can't even balance the characters they add. Right? It's insanity. And the mythic skins, I mean, sure, we could talk about them. They're not good a lot of the time, which is upsetting, right? Because you wait so long for a character that you want a skin for, and it's dog, and it just doesn't make sense. Like I don't mind paying for a battle pass, especially because I play the game, right? But I'll tell you what, if I played only one character and that character got one of the worst skins, like Orisa, I'd be very upset. And again, I don't think the Orisa skin is actually that terrible, but it's not what I would want. It's okay, but I think she actually just has better legendaries. You know, maybe you're missing the effects, but that doesn't really matter. I mean, you can't even really see the skin anyway. I don't know, man. The game is... I keep hoping they're going to do better stuff, and they just constantly make the game worse over and over again. Currently, the game is, from what I just played, this is a brand new game you can see in the background. It's okay. It's not the worst. It's not Mauga meta, but it's okay. I'll tell you what though, I'm not excited for the season I have for my esports team. I'm on in college because I know people are going to be running the same comp that they ran last season, which is so annoying. It was the Ram, May, Sojourn, Baptiste, Lucio. And sure, Ana's busted right now. Brig is pretty good right now, if not busted, in the right comp. Same with Kiriko, but that comp is disgusting. So you see these kind of things, and again, Pro Play, I don't even think it's around anymore. I don't know what they're doing with that. I know the Overwatch League is done at least, pretty sure. But I don't. Who are they balancing for? Because they're not balancing for lower ranks. I'll tell you that. Buffing Orisa is not good for lower ranks because everybody could play Orisa. And if that character's busted, then people in lower ranks who tend to play the game more to have fun, which is how you should play the game, are feeling forced to play characters they don't want to play. And I think that's just bad in general. Hopefully things get better in Season 9, but I'm not holding like the craziest hope. I'll still be playing the game, no doubt. Especially because the esports team at my school, right, is one of the main factors. And I still like the game a lot. Um, but man, it is upsetting to see like how they just still can't fix the very problem they've had since the start of Overwatch, which is their patches. It is kind of disgusting at this point. Hopefully, it'll get better. We'll see. If you guys have any thoughts, just let me know. And that's if even anybody watches this, right? I'm not trying to hate on the game. I do like the game still, and it makes me mad. But what competitive shooter doesn't, right? But I'm just trying to talk about how it's upsetting that the devs seem to lack the balance that they should be putting instead of just trying to enforce a meta. And just overall problems in the game. All right, that's it. See ya.